Kill the old you. Napoleon Hill. You need to reset, restart, and refocus because your future cannot be built with the same thinking that exhausted your present. There comes a moment when you must pull yourself out of the noise, out of the endless cycle of rushing, doubting, and delaying. And remind yourself that power returns the moment your mind becomes still again. Reset by releasing the weight of every mistake, every disappointment, every plan that didn't work. None of them have the authority to decide who you become next. Restart by reclaiming your direction, choosing once again to stand with purpose, to move with intention, to rise boldly as if your victory depends on your next breath. Refocus by aiming your mind with precision, refusing every distraction, denying every weakness, shutting out every voice that tries to shrink your potential. Your growth demands clarity. Your destiny demands discipline. And your success demands obsession. The world only rewards those who are committed enough to start again, strong enough to stay consistent, and hungry enough to keep going when everyone else stops. Reset your mind, restart your fire, refocus your energy, and walk forward with the kind of determination that makes excuses disappear. Because the moment you sharpen your focus, the universe steps aside and allows you to claim what was always meant to be yours. Break the cycle of mental noise and interrupt autopilot living because nothing powerful can grow inside a mind that is constantly reacting instead of consciously directing. You have spent too long moving through days that blur together, repeating the same patterns, thinking the same thoughts, following the same routines, accepting the same limitations that quietly shape your life without your permission. This is the trap that steals potential. This is the silent enemy that convinces you that being busy is the same as being productive, that movement is the same as progress, that surviving is the same as living. You must awaken. You must snap out of the fog that numbs your ambition and keeps you from realizing how much power you actually have when you choose to regain control of your inner world. Every day your mind is bombarded with noise, doubts, fears, notifications, opinions, expectations, unfinished tasks, old memories, and visible pressures. And slowly, almost without noticing, your mind becomes cluttered, chaotic, and exhausted. And when the mind is overwhelmed, it takes the easiest path. The path of routine, the path of autopilot. You wake up, you move, you react, you comply, you repeat. You start responding to life instead of directing it. You stop questioning the path you're on. You stop challenging the limitations you've accepted. You stop seeing how far you can go because you're too caught up in just getting through the day. That is not living. That is drifting. And nothing great has ever been built through drifting. But the moment you break this mental pattern, the moment you interrupt the cycle of noise and demand clarity, something shifts inside you. The fog lifts, the fire returns. You begin to see possibilities instead of problems. You begin to feel strength instead of stress. You begin to remember that your life wasn't meant to be a repetition of yesterday. It was meant to be a creation of something greater. And that creation begins the instant you choose to take command of your thoughts again. You interrupt autopilot living by becoming intentional, brutally intentional. You decide that you will not allow your mind to be a playground for distractions. You decide that you will not give your energy to people or problems that drain you. You decide that your goals deserve more from you than half-hearted effort and scattered attention. And with that decision, you start rewiring your life. You stop rushing and start observing. You stop drifting and start directing. You stop surviving and start building. You become conscious of every choice, every thought, every habit, every hour. Because when you are conscious, you are powerful. Breaking the cycle of mental noise requires courage. It means stepping away from the comfort of distractions. It means facing your fears without running from them. It means admitting that you've allowed your mind to wander, your discipline to weaken, your focus to scatter. But that honesty is not a failure. It is the beginning of transformation because you cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. And once you acknowledge it, you gain the authority to change everything. This shift begins with silence. Not the absence of sound, but the absence of chaos. A moment where you pause, breathe, and pull your mind back into your control. In that silence, you regain your internal power. In that silence, you remember what you're working for. In that silence, you rediscover the strength you've been losing to distraction.